Live from Quicken Loans Arena at the MAC Tournament, this is Casey Church once again for Z88 Sports Update here on WZIP.FM. We just concluded the women's semifinals here at the Q, and wow, two spectacular games we just saw. Let's start with the first game, a shocker. Central Michigan, the number 5 seed, just upset the two-time defending MAC champion Bowling Green Falcons, 69-66. Absolutely a stunning loss. Bowling Green only had a lead for really just the beginning of the first half, but after that it was all Central Michigan. The stat that stands out to me is 46 points in the paint for the Central Michigan Chippewas, only 28 for Bowling Green. Absolutely a shocker to say the least, because like I said, Bowling Green is the top women's team in the MAC. It's been that way for several years. They're the two-time defending MAC champions in the women's division for basketball, and they were just outplayed in this game. Crystal Bradford for the Chippewas, 20 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks on the day. And this was all Central Michigan. It's hard to put into words, but this was all Central Michigan. Maybe the extended bye had something to do with it. As number 1 seed, just like the Akron Zips, they had a bye all the way to the semifinal rounds, and they were playing rusty. I mean, from the view that we have up here at the Q, it clearly showed that they were playing rusty, and that likely had something to do with it. But nonetheless, Central Michigan, they move on. They go to the championship round, and they will end up facing the Eastern Michigan Eagles, who not more than 10-15 minutes ago from this recording just defeated the Toledo Rockets 59-57 in a game where Toledo dominated, absolutely dominated. Eastern Michigan's only lead came with 30 seconds left on the clock. And that's how well Toledo dominated. They led throughout all of this game, but Eastern Michigan, thanks in part to Tavlin James, who had 19 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, and 2 blocks on the day. Her 3-point shot with 2 minutes to go didn't give the Eagles the lead, but they definitely got momentum from that deep 3-point shot at the top of the key. That gave them all the motivation they needed, because Toledo just couldn't find an answer for anything that the Eagles were giving them at that one. Unfortunately for the defending WNIT champs, they're not going to the NCAA dance. They'll have to hope that they get another invitation to the WNIT, because the Rockets are out, the Eagles are in, and Central Michigan will take on Eastern Michigan here at the Q tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock for the women's final. Now, the game that everyone wants to talk about right now, the Wagon Wheel rivalry renewed. Round 3 for Kent State and Akron here tonight at the Q. Semifinal action, 7 o'clock. And like I mentioned with Bowling Green, the women's team, they rested for a week, over a week actually, I believe, before coming to this game. And I've noticed before, I've mentioned this on Power Talk several times, when Akron is hot, they play hot. When they're cold, they play cold. And that's probably one of the main concerns for the Akron Zips right now, despite how well they've been practicing here at the Q all week, is that how are they going to react to being off for a week? Whereas Kent State, they played yesterday in order to get to this semifinal game. And Kent State, they have all the motivation right now. They are hungry, to say the least. I mean, there's no better word for it. Just looking at the come-from-behind wins, the 84-75 win against Kent, the Zips came from behind at halftime for that one. Akron was down 27-18 in the game last week at halftime at the MAC Center, and they ended up winning that one 61-55. Kent State's hungry. Don't be surprised if Kent State can't pull off a win on this one, and certainly if they do, don't call it an upset, because Kent State is hungry for revenge. You just take a look at not only the 2 come-from-behind losses they suffered to the Zips this regular season, but also you have to go all the way back a year and talk about the overtime MAC final last year, where Akron won that one 66-55 or 66-65 in overtime last year here at the Q. You can bet Kent State's hungry about that. They're on a pretty steep losing streak when it comes to facing the Akron Sibs, and the Sibs may actually have a bit of an advantage despite being off a week, because the last opponent they did play was Kent State exactly a week ago. So that's going to be a huge factor when it comes to the game tomorrow night, or tonight, excuse me. The winner of this one will end up facing the winner of Buffalo and Ohio, who played a nightcap at around 9:30 tonight. The winners of those games, Kent State, Akron, and Buffalo and Ohio, they go on to the MAC championship game tomorrow night at 6 o'clock here at Quicken Loans Arena. A lot of storylines going on with the Kent State-Akron game. As I mentioned, Akron's been off a week. Their last opponent was Kent State. Kent State wants revenge for the losses they suffered this season and the MAC final loss last year. And, of course, it's the Kent State-Akron rivalry. There's no bigger rivalry in the Mid-American Conference than Kent State and Akron. So tons of storylines going on here. I'm looking forward to seeing everything that they have going on. I believe it was Michael Perini in the press conference last night and said that he was already looking forward to Friday to play Akron. That's how confident they were that they were going to win last night and get to the semifinals to take on the Akron Sibs, and they were right. So they're hungry. I know Zeke Marshall, Nick Santanovich, Alex Abreu, all them for the Akron Sibs. They were watching the Kent State game last night. They were over here, not far from where we are right now, watching that game in the crowd. You can bet they were taking mental notes. You can bet Keith Danbrod has been preparing these guys all week long for this game, because I think they knew that they were going to end up facing Kent State too. So, tons and tons of storylines. But it's all going to come down tonight, 7 o'clock here at the Q. If you can make it, make it. If not, I believe the game's on STO. Be sure to watch it, because this is going to be possibly an instant classic when it comes to the MAC tournament. If it's anything like last year's game, we're in for a good one. Be sure to keep following us here at WCIP.FM for more video blogs live from Quicken Loans Arena. Be sure to follow Sports Power Talk on Facebook and Twitter. The links are right above this post. Be sure to follow us there for live in-game updates for the last few legs of the tournament. And, of course, keep listening to Z88 for live updates on the air, live from the Q. And, of course, Sports Power Talk this Sunday, Selection Sunday at that, noon to 1, here on WZIP and WZIP.FM. We'll talk to you guys later tonight as we recap the men's action. I'm Casey Church from Z88 Sports.